What's up, people? Um, so I want to do this video on Bill Maher. Recently, on Bill Maher's show on HBO, he went out on another one of his tangents on Muslims and their ideology and his viewpoint, and he's stuck with this for a while now. I don't know if like Bill actually believes this now, or if he's just like, you know, doubling down to make himself not look weak. But he basically thinks that Muslims and their ideology is more extreme than any other religion, and so I don't know if he supports or doesn't support Syrian refugees coming into America, but I do know that he is basically saying that anybody who says that Muslims have the same ideology as the United States, he's saying no, that's not true. I want to respond to his whole point about how he says that, you know, Muslims don't share the same culture as America. My thing is that, like, out of all the Muslims out there, out of all the different countries that they're in, of course they don't actually believe everything that we believe in America, but when they come here, they become Americans and they believe in the ideology of America. What is and what isn't American culture? You know, who's defining that? What does Bill mean? If he means that, you know, the overwhelming white heterosexual sort of moderately liberal American, which is most Americans, I think, then yeah, then that means a lot of us don't have the same ideology as America. And then, like, if you think that Americans also don't have some value for death, why are all these cop killings against innocent blacks? Why do we have the most gun deaths? You know, why are we droning and hitting civilians at a 90% rate? You know, 90% are civilians and collateral damage, while 10% is the actual target. So you're telling me that, and especially the way that we look at gays in this country, like, you go down to Texas and Mississippi, ask them how they think about gays. I bet you if you did a poll on them, if it wasn't for the American justice system and the laws here, they would want to kill gay people and hang gay people. They would want to do the same thing that they did to black people to gay people. I mean, who's the one famous gay guy, I can't think right now, who was dragged in Texas and was killed? Was dragged in the back of a truck, tied up like some animal, and dragged until he fucking died. So that happened in America. And then you also have, you know, sexual assault, how we view women. Everyone always makes the claim that, you know, in a lot of Muslim countries, they treat their women like shit. That is true. But we also treat our women like shit here. I mean, not to the same degree, obviously, but we treat our women pretty bad here. I mean, look at the domestic abuse that's run rampant in sports, major league sports, especially the NFL. Look at campus sexual assaults. You know, look at how these go underreported. Look at the Bill Cosby situation. Look how hard it is for a woman in America to actually, you know, accuse or get justice for somebody who raped her. And then the last note is about that first point is, what culture really does believe everything Americans believe? No matter what type of refugee or immigrant that you are, of course, in your country, you don't believe in everything America believes. But again, once you come here, you start believing in that, right? And I want to come back to that point about how, like, you know, do you really think, does Bill Maher really think that the women who are getting abused by these crazy Muslim men, getting stoned and can't go out in the street, can't drive, is Bill Maher also making the case that those women are of that same culture? Like they would support that culture over freedom, over at least freedom that we have in America? Or a kid coming here who's only been in this country for what? He might be like, he or she might be 5 or 6 years old, even less than that. They'll probably spend the rest of their lives in America. So obviously by the time they're like 12, 13, by that point they will have spent most of their time in America. So yeah, anybody who doesn't come to America, yes, they are automatically, you know, not with the same ideology that we have. But once they come here, it's different. Point two, he says that their ideology is worse. So extreme elements happen in every culture, every religion. So Christians, look at what Christians are doing in Africa. They're mutilating people and they're killing gays. So how is that any worse or any better than what Muslims are doing in their country, stoning women and killing women and beating them with sticks or whatever the fuck, throwing acid on them? Like, it's all killing. Or is it only worse when a Muslim kills? And to the last point, Bill also says that Muslims, a large portion, even if it's like, he makes the point that even if it's like 8% of Muslims, because there's so many Muslims, you know, that means that more of them believe in extreme ideologies. To a point, yes. I mean, statistically, yes, that would mean that more of them believed in that. But again, you have to go and look at actions. Muslims have lived in this country, in the United States, for how long? Are they stoning women here in this country? See, the thing that Bill doesn't get is that he's talking about religion, but he's leaving out the context of the countries that these religions are built in. In America, again, like I made this point that I made before, in America, we have our own laws, our own jurisdiction. We're not going to allow Sharia law to proliferate in the United States. So why is it really an issue to allow Syrian refugees who are Muslim to come to this country? So again, coming to the point, you know, it's like you have these women in families who are getting torn apart, like in Syria, for instance. You think that they don't have any animosity toward what ISIS did to their country? That's a perfect opportunity for us to take them and help them become American citizens. That's a great way to fight against what ISIS is trying to do. So to automatically assume that like every Syrian Muslim is like guilty by association, I mean, that's kind of ridiculous. You know, you can be for more checks, you can be for a better review process on the Syrians that come to this country, but to actually say no Syrians allowed to this country, I mean, that's kind of extreme. That's kind of extreme. So that's where I want to leave that. Let me know what you guys think. If you like it, give me a thumbs up. If you don't like it, give me a thumbs down. Leave your comments, and thanks for checking me out.